There's something magical about safaris. The open landscapes, the untamed wilderness, and the rare chance to witness Earth's most powerful predators up close. But that raw beauty often hides deadly risks. While most safaris end with incredible photos and unforgettable stories, some journeys cross the line between wonder and horror. And when that happens, what's left behind are broken cameras, shattered windows, blood-stained trails, and wildlife operating on primal instinct. These are not tales meant to scare for thrill. They're chilling reminders of what can happen when humans miscalculate the wild, ignore warnings, or just find themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time. From big cat ambushes and crocodile ambushes to vehicle crashes that end in stampedes, these real-life events are as haunting as they are cautionary. So buckle up, because these are the most horrifying safari attacks ever recorded. The Sundarbans Tiger Attack, a photographer's fatal step. August 15th, 2006, in West Bengal's Sundarbans Tiger Reserve. A day that began like any other sultry monsoon morning turned fatal within seconds. Arun Chatterjee, a 52-year-old photographer from Mumbai, was chasing the perfect shot of a Bengal tiger. He was prepared with high-end gear and years of photographic experience. But the forest he stepped into wasn't as forgiving as a zoom lens might suggest. Despite clearly marked signs warning visitors not to exit vehicles, Arun made the fateful decision to step outside his Mahindra Scorpio to retrieve a zoom lens from the trunk. Just 30 feet away was Agnaban, a 470-pound male Bengal tiger who had already shown signs of aggression for weeks. Arun focused his lens, unaware that this particular tiger was on edge that morning. The moment Arun turned his back, Agnaban struck. In mere seconds, the tiger closed the distance, slammed into Arun, and dragged him into the dense undergrowth. Rangers responded quickly after motion sensor cameras detected the attack, but it was too late. Arun had sustained fatal injuries, including a severed artery and crushed bones. Agnaban had disappeared into the jungle with the man's lifeless body. This horrifying incident led to a review of the park's safety protocols and fines against the reserve for failing to respond to the tiger's prior aggression. The jaguar attack in Brazil, a photographer's last frame. September 15th, 2011, in the Amazon rainforest near Manaus, Brazil. The jungle's silence was shattered by an ambush so brutal it left seasoned rangers shaken. Carla Mendoza, a 62-year-old wildlife photographer, had tracked a female jaguar with 2 cubs to a remote waterway. Sitting in her reinforced Toyota Land Cruiser, she believed she was safe. But what she didn't realize was that her vehicle was now blocking the jaguar's hunting path. The cat, known as Luna, reacted with pure instinct. With a 2,000 psi bite force, the strongest among big cats, she rammed the vehicle and shattered the window. Carla, startled and fumbling for the clutch, failed to start the engine. Within moments, Luna broke through the glass, dragged Carla halfway out, and delivered a fatal bite to the base of her neck. The attack lasted only moments, but the aftermath was unforgettable. When the rangers found her, Carla's body was partially pulled from the window, her camera gear scattered. The jaguar's aggression was traced to her protective instinct. Her cubs were just 100 feet away. The incident triggered a wave of new safety protocols for photographers, including armored vehicles and mandatory escorts in high-risk zones. Serengeti lioness mauls tourist through open window. August 15, 2011, the Serengeti, Tanzania. The Wilson family from Oregon had spent 5 years saving for this African safari. It was meant to be a dream. Instead, it became an unimaginable nightmare. While watching a pride of lions under an acacia tree, Haley Wilson, frustrated by her iPhone camera's limited zoom, made a deadly decision. Ignoring the rule to keep windows shut, she opened one slightly to get a better shot. It took less than 5 seconds for a lioness to react. She lunged from 40 yards away, slammed into the window frame, and locked her jaws onto Haley's neck. Despite the guide's attempts to scare the lioness off with gunshots and aggressive vehicle maneuvers, it was too late. Haley died almost instantly from a crushed spine and severed artery. Her iPhone was still recording. The attack left her daughters traumatized and sparked tighter enforcement of window safety on game drives across the Serengeti. Dragged by a crocodile, Congo's deadliest river crossing. May 17, 2019. Deep in the Congo Basin, Daniel Mercer, a highly experienced safari guide, led a group of 4 through one of Earth's most unforgiving landscapes. But even 2 decades of survival expertise couldn't save him from what waited beneath the surface. The group approached a swollen river, using a fallen tree as a makeshift bridge. Mercer stepped into the shallows to test stability. What none of them knew was that a 15-foot Nile crocodile had made this crossing its hunting ground. In one violent surge, it latched onto Daniel's leg and dragged him under. His body was never recovered. Rangers believe the crocodile used a technique known as the death roll, spinning its prey to shred muscle and sever arteries before caching it underwater. The group, stranded for days, had to wait for rescue, shaken and haunted by what they witnessed. Daniel's death forced safari companies to adopt stricter river safety protocols, including mandatory pole checks for water crossings. Leopard breaks through window in Kruger National Park, July 17, 2023. In South Africa's Kruger National Park, the Baker family was enjoying what should have been a peaceful morning game drive. As their guide repositioned their vehicle near a leopard lounging in a marula tree, Jennifer Baker leaned in for a better shot. Frustrated by the mesh screen blurring her photos, she briefly pushed it aside and inserted her camera lens through the gap. That one move changed everything. The leopard's behavior shifted instantly. It pounced with terrifying force, broke through the window, and clamped its jaws around Jennifer's neck. The guide acted fast, starting the vehicle and using an emergency horn to scare the predator off. But the damage had been done. Jennifer succumbed to blood loss before reaching the nearest medical facility. This tragedy led to even stricter mesh enclosure rules and new safety drills for tourists, emphasizing that no photo is ever worth breaching that barrier. Luxury honeymoon ends in Cape Buffalo Stampede, November 12, 2021, in Orongo Conservation Area, Tanzania. Anatoly and Elena Petrov were newlyweds on a private honeymoon safari. As rain began to fall, their guide attempted a tricky turnaround on a narrow trail. The ground gave way, sending their Land Rover sliding into a ravine. Anatoly died in the crash. Elena, badly injured but alive, crawled from the wreck only to face an even worse fate. A herd of Cape buffalo emerged from the mist. One massive bull spotted her and charged. The impact was devastating. Elena was trampled in seconds. Investigators later learned that the area had known erosion issues. The tragedy prompted new trail usage guidelines during rainy seasons and led to the installation of terrain monitoring systems in remote safari routes. A tragic mistake in an Arizona drive-thru safari, September 15th, 2012, Phoenix, Arizona. Sarah Mitchell, a wildlife illustrator, was celebrating her birthday with her daughter and sister at a drive-thru safari park. Despite clear rules to keep windows shut, Sarah cracked hers open to get a better photo of Zeus, a 520-pound African lion. That slight gap was all the lion needed. Zeus lunged, tore the window frame apart, and dragged Sarah halfway out of the vehicle. Her sister tried to pull her back, but the lion's grip was fatal. Sarah died from massive blood loss and a crushed artery. Following the incident, the park implemented reinforced windows and stationed rangers at key points. The attack reminded many that even in controlled environments, wild animals are still wild. Stepping out for a photograph, killed by a lioness, July the 17th, 2022, Serengeti again. This time, a walking safari turned deadly. Klaus Bergman, a retired German engineer, and his partner Elise were on foot with a guide. The group stopped near a warthog watering hole, but Klaus wandered off to photograph a hornbill. Unbeknownst to him, his path placed him between a lioness and her cubs. The attack came from nowhere. She pounced, crushed Klaus's neck, and nearly attacked Elise before the guide fired a warning shot. New regulations followed. Tourists were no longer allowed to stray from groups, and GPS trackers became mandatory for walking safaris. The Okavango Swim, a fatal dip in crocodile territory. August 23, 2018, Botswana's Okavango Delta. Luc Maro, a French marketing executive, decided to take a refreshing dip in the lake outside his lodge. Despite warning signs about crocodiles, he waded into the water for what he thought would be a 5-minute swim. Moments later, a massive Nile crocodile struck. Luc was dragged underwater and never seen alive again. His partially consumed body was recovered a day later. The lodge upgraded fencing and signage, but the story served as a chilling reminder. If the water looks calm, it only means the predator is already watching. A hippos surprise strike on the Zambezi River, March 9, 1996. Zambezi River, Zimbabwe. Evans Namasango, a 25-year-old apprentice guide, was helping lead a canoe safari. Despite years of safe operations, a massive bull hippo ambushed them. Evans was thrown into the water and vanished in seconds. His mentor, Paul Temper, tried to rescue him, but was also attacked and nearly killed. Paul's left arm was mangled, but he survived. Evans' body was found 2 days later. His death changed river safety forever. Today, his story is told to every new guide as a reminder of the Zambezi's power and unpredictability. Gored by the Black Death, the photographer who got too close. May 12, 2022, Serengeti once again. Elliot Grant, an award-winning wildlife photographer, left his vehicle to photograph a buffalo herd. But a solitary bull, known for being especially aggressive, charged from the grass. Elliot was gored, trampled, and killed instantly. His final photo, captured seconds before the attack, showed the herd bathed in golden light, with the charging bull just entering the frame. It became one of the most haunting images ever taken, and a sobering reminder of how fast beauty can turn to brutality. A hero's final act, Quinn Swales and the Lion That Didn't Retreat. August 24, 2014, Wang National Park, Zimbabwe. Guide Quinn Swales was leading a walking safari when a lion named Nshaha charged. Despite using deterrence, the lion didn't back down. Quinn placed himself between the lion and his group. He took the full force of the attack and was killed within seconds. His group was unharmed. His death is remembered as one of ultimate sacrifice. Today, his story is part of every training session for guides in Southern Africa. Each of these stories paints a vivid, terrifying picture of what happens when human error, unpredictable wildlife, or nature's raw force collide. Safari isn't Disneyland. These are real places filled with real danger, and respect for the wild isn't optional. It's survival. If this video gripped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more intense real-life stories from the wild. And remember, stay safe, respect the wilderness, and never let your guard down in the presence of nature's most powerful predators.